When I first saw the trailer for Rubber, a movie about a tire that comes to life and starts to kill people using his psychic powers, I thought, yes, this is what we need. Creative ideas, thinking outside the box. None of this sequel, prequel, frequel can have a fresh idea to save my life. Bullshit. But now that I've seen the movie, I feel kind of cheated. Rubber is not really an absurdist movie, as it likes to claim, as it is a movie about an absurdist concept, which it turns on all its sides, and it tells you repeatedly that it's absurd. Now, call me crazy, but you can't really have self-aware meta-absurdism. A crazy person doesn't know that he or she is crazy. Take David Lynch, for instance. He doesn't give a shit that nobody understands his movies. He just does them. Rubber actually has two storylines. There's the storyline of Robert, the tire that comes to life, and then there's the storyline which involves the spectators, which are driven in the desert, and they're watching the movie as it unfolds. This is really the reason why this is an hour and 15 minutes movie, because it is stuffed with scenes like this of people watching the movie as it unfolds, and I don't really get the point of this. I personally understood it as a stab at modern day audiences. One of the people watching a movie dares to make a suggestion to the people who are making the movie right at the end, and he dies like a gruesome death. Actually, all the spectators in this die, but the one that actually has the nerve to suggest something is the one that dies the most awful death. The movie is very self-ironic, but it's also very critical of audiences, because in this particular audience, there's a dad and his son who don't get the movie. They're the movie geeks who kind of try to explain how the tire has superpowers and so on and so forth. I feel targeted, quite frankly. If the director wanted to make a movie about a tire that comes to life, make that fucking movie. That's the movie that I personally want to see. But don't stuff it with your silly arrogance and in taking a stab at modern day audiences, because the only thing that those particular scenes served was to paint the director as an arrogant son of a bitch who makes fun of the people who will eventually see his movie. Now, if that particular storyline was completely expunged, I would have loved this, because even though it's an independent, kind of cheaply made movie, it doesn't really feel cheap. The cinematography is crisp. The soundtrack is quirky and sinister at times. I would have loved to see more interaction between Robert and other people, because the interaction between Robert and characters is kind of limited to a staring match and then the subsequent blowing up of the head. What I also really loved about this is that it has a lot of references to other movies. There's the beginning when Robert comes to life is kind of reminiscent of the beginning from 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's a great scene which is kind of a reference to the infamous shower scene from Psycho. I'm one of those people that would have embraced the idea of an inanimate object coming to life and having superpowers and going on a killing spree. It reminds me of that ad for IKEA with the lamp that is left out in the rain and is all sad and shit. That lamp needed some laser powers to blow its former owner out of the sky. I love that ad, and I consider this movie to be my revenge, my vindication. But I'm just that kind of person. I'm kind of fucked up in the head. And for somebody who isn't really on the same level, maybe this kind of storytelling where you have self-referential absurdism, it is better, because you kind of meet the audience halfway. You tell them, oh, it's okay, you don't have to believe this. Nobody has to believe that a tire will come to life. It was still an enjoyable experience, but not as out there as I would have liked.